Saturday Social is powered by EA Sports FIFA 23 with PlayStation.
We're here to talk about the World Cup anyway, and later on in the show, Smithy has a very, very special episode of Lies with World Cup duo Harry Wilson and Dan James.
Yeah.
It's a cracking answer in that as well, isn't
there
there?
Is, yeah. Wales teammates. It's good.
One of my favourite answers ever.
Yeah, there is a very good answer. Should we get cracking with the show?
Let's do it.
Only one place to start, and that is all about the World Cup. World Cup starting this weekend. Cannot wait. Let's start before we get the guest predictions, because we're going to get them to get off the fence and give us their all-important predictions. Let's have a reminder of the World Cup group. So, in case you're unaware of the group stages, here we are, the hosts in Group A. England in Group B. Now, interestingly, Group B is the only group with all 4 nations that are inside the top 20 in terms of world rankings. Argentina, could it be Messi's year? They're in Group C. France, Australia, Denmark, Tunisia, interesting group, that one in D. Spain and Germany will meet in the group stage in E, as will Belgium and Croatia in F. Many people's favourite, Brazil in Group G. And then a tough one to predict the winner of in Group H.
Portugal are panicking.
Portugal, Ghana, Uruguay and South Korea. So we've got the guests to give us their predictions in terms of who's going to win. Runners-up, England's tournament, Wales' tournament, as well as the overachievers, underachievers, and a couple of individual ones, top scorer and player of the tournament. So let's firstly have a look at who they think, the most important one, let's be honest, is going to lift that famous trophy and come runners-up. So Nubaid's gone Argentina. Nieve's gone Germany. So Nubaid, we'll come to you first. You think it is Messi's time, written in the stars for you?
Yeah, it's one of those things where I think, you know, football owes Messi one. This is the one that he's going to get. And, I mean, Nieve said Germany. So, like, you can't get...
Laughing at
Uruguay. He's put Uruguay as runners-up. And then you sat here like, I've made the outrageous take. Like, what the heck?
Nieve, Nubaid laughed at you there with your first prediction. So the floor is yours. Why Germany?
Well, first of all, I'm laughing back at you for yours. Because, I mean, we're talking about Germany here, who've won 4 World Cups, who've been to 8 finals, and we're acting like, what I'm saying, like Wigan are going to win the World Cup or something. Like, what's going on there? But Germany, I think, they'll either win it this year, or if they don't win it this year, they'll win a major tournament soon with Hansi Flick, because, you know, his level of management is just insane. You know, what he's done. I think people forget his involvement with Germany. That goes back now 15 years, being the assistant manager. You've got to bear in mind that when Hansi Flick was the assistant manager at Germany, we're dealing with them coming 3rd, 2nd, 1st, 3rd again. That's pure semi-final, final consistency, and you know the elevation of Germany under him.
Yeah, but you've got Brazil and Argentina in the same tournament, and you back Germany when Brazil come in with Neymar and 9 forwards. Messi's coming in with like the story. Ronaldo's fuming as well somewhere. So I feel like, you know, Germany probably weren't in my top 5 when I was considering winners.
What?
Yeah, they're a long way, and I really like this Germany side, and I think they will be dangerous. I think they'll do well. But when you consider the other sides that just have a better narrative, at the moment more informed players, and I don't feel like Germany have a number 9 that's going to score them enough goals. So
they don't need a number 9 though. That's the whole. Like they've got Gnabry who gets goals. He's got 20 goals for Germany. They've got Musiala who gets goals. I mean, look at the goals he scored for Bayern Munich this season, and he's had 17 caps for Germany as well. So he's a bit more experienced than I think people realise. But I just think I agree with you. I don't think Germany have got the best team. But I do think they've got a team built for an international tournament. You look at how fast and athletic their defenders are, and then they've got an engine in midfield. They'll cope with the run-in, and you know, out there in Qatar. And overall, I just think they're built for a World Cup.
And just quickly, runners-up, Uruguay.
It's huge.
Yeah.
Uruguay?
I mean, I felt like one side of the draw like picked itself, and then the other side of the draw, like things just kept happening by accident. So when I was doing mine, Uruguay just kept going further and further and further, and I was like, you've landed in the final now. I think they'll score goals, to be fair, and I really like their midfield. Bentancur and Fede Valverde, who, according to some people, is like the best midfielder since sliced bread. But yeah, no, I generally do like their side. And I think they've got a good balance. And I think they could go far purely because of that side of the draw. And if they top their group, then they've got every chance of getting semis, final.
Yeah, and if you've gone Brazil, a lot of people's favourites. I mean, I look at Brazil and think they are the team to beat because I think they've got the best squad. But you think Germany just edged them in the final?
Yeah, and I mean, that's by no means criticism of Brazil, and I expect they'll entertain us massively with their players. I mean, they are stacked going forward, aren't they? But where I think they've got a weak spot is in those wide defensive areas, and that's where I think Germany will be able to exploit them in that final with Gnabry and Sané.
All right, love it. Let's move on to the home nations then, shall we? Let's have a look at where you've got England and Wales finishing. England, semi-finals, Nubaid, Nieve, quarter-finals, Wales out of the group, both of you. Semis and quarters then, Nieve, why quarters? Who are they going out to? You think maybe France in that situation?
Yeah, I did a tree and it came up to France. Yeah. And to be fair, on my video, I've said that England will win that. And now I'm saying England won't win it. So I'm just covering both sides. Yeah. So, you know, when it happens. But no, I originally thought we could maybe we could sort of get them a little bit on the counter kind of thing, really. Maybe the way we play. But the more I look at their team, what I think with Nkunku not being able to play and them having to maybe rely on Griezmann to sort of fill that little bit of space in, and the fact that he's not looked too great, I thought there's an area in midfield there that can be exploited. But I don't think England will be the team to exploit it, to be honest, because I don't think our midfield is necessarily somewhere where we control the game.
I don't have England playing France because I have France finishing
Denmark.
second. Yeah, so I have Denmark top in the group. So I think England play Denmark. And I think that'll be a really good game, actually.
Remake of Euro 2020 semis.
Yeah, so I pretty much flipped a coin on who'd win that because I can't really choose. I think both sides are really well balanced. And then have England going into the semi-finals and losing against Uruguay.
You know what's interesting about that is if Argentina and Brazil both win their groups, they're in the second half to England if England win their group. And also, as you said, if Denmark pip France, a lot of people got Denmark as a surprise package.
England could have
France, Brazil and Argentina, in theory, could all be on the other half. But there's a lot of chopping and changes, isn't there? Yeah,
and then Wales, both out of the group, even though they've had decent success at tournaments in the Euros.
Yeah, I think they've had they're a good tournament team, but I just think they're in a group with England, Iran, who I think people are sleeping on, and then USA, who I think have a really good team, and if they can get going in the tournament, I think they're a better side than Wales. That first game's massive, Wales against USA. If USA win that, Wales have not got a chance. But then Wales are one of these teams where in the last few tournaments people have gone, oh, they're that surprise package. I think that's now ran out. Like, we've got to that point where everyone knows they're decent. And also they rely so much on Gareth Bale, I think it's one tournament too far.
Okay, yeah. So the Welsh viewers may not be happy that last prediction group stages from both of our guests. Let's move on to the next one. Overachievers and underachievers. I always like looking at this particular prediction. And do you know what I've got to say, actually? I think this is a great shout from both you. Denmark and Uruguay, I also think, are going to have fairly decent tournaments. Underachievers, Croatia and Portugal. Nieve, now you've got your head in your hands. There's something that you don't like about this. What is it?
Patiently waiting for that graphic to go then. It was really excessive the length of time I had head in my hands. You've put Uruguay in the final, and then you've not said they're overachievers. Like, are we all expecting Uruguay? Like,
yeah, but
do you think
no, hold on.
Fair point, that.
No, hold on. When I tweeted my tree, a lot of people were like, oh, to be fair, I have Uruguay going pretty far as well. But Denmark go all the way to the semis, or the quarters, and I think Denmark, as a dark horse, going to the quarters is quite far. So I think they'll overachieve.
But surely Uruguay going to the final.
Yeah, but
it's a fair point.
But also, to be fair to myself here, when I was getting asked for my predictions, I didn't just want to put like Uruguay here and Uruguay there and Uruguay. So I had to choose
the
someone
same
else.
different the graphic.
To be fair, I mean, Denmark getting to the semi-finals would be outrageous. It's not like that's where they got in the last major tournament that they were in.
Who did you have? Portugal.
For the overachievers?
Oh, no, underachievers, you had Portugal.
Portugal for under.
Yeah,
Go on, explain your two then, Nieve.
Yeah, so Uruguay for over, because I completely agree with you. I think that Uruguay will do well this World Cup. They've got great players in each position, a bit of balance, and I think Darwin Núñez could end up having a good tournament as well. But for underachievers, going with Portugal, because as much as I disagree that there's maybe hostilities within the camp, it's impossible to get away from the noise because of the press. They are constantly wanting to find out about Ronaldo.
Do you think that's going to really affect their tournament?
I think so. And not just that, though. I think with Portugal, they're not going to have the most made of those quality attacking options they've got unless they have a manager who's a bit different to Santos. I'm really not a massive fan of Santos in the way he plays.
He has won a tournament before, and the Ronaldo thing's interesting to me because I'm on the other end of it. I think like the players will almost back him even more. I was speaking to someone literally a couple of days ago who's been with the Portugal players since they've got there, and they were saying that the players are so much more on side with him now. And Ronaldo pretty much runs that team. It's not Santos' team. If Ronaldo's like, big man, move out of the way. This is my team. That's kind of how it rolls.
Remember the final when he got taken off and he was almost doing the coaching.
Is that a problem? It's been a bit of a problem for United facilitating Ronaldo. When you've got that many quality attackers in João Felix, but like Silva and Bruno, are they going to be able to perform with Ronaldo in the team?
I think Ten Hag demands Ronaldo to press and Santos won't. He'll say to him, stand in the box, we'll get you chances, and he will score goals. Also, like as terribly non-tactical as this sounds, Ronaldo right now is going to be loving this. So he's coming into this tournament even more revved up than he was before. So I'm scared of the guy, and I'm not going against him.
Okay, there we go. Ronaldo, there's a lot of talk about Ronaldo this week, of course. Croatia, you've gone as underachievers. So just explain why you've gone.
Yeah, I think they're just at the end of their sort of like time with this team. Yeah. During the last tournament, they sort of like relied on Luka Modric to pull them out a few times. They don't have a forward. I'm just not overly convinced by this team. The defence has improved, to be fair. There's no more Lovren, Gvardiol's there, but generally speaking, I'm just not a big fan.
Okay.
All right, let's have a look at your final 2 predictions then. And there's a blockbuster one in here. Top goal scorer, Nubaid.
Ooh, come on, boy.
Almost as if you're a Liverpool fan. Nieve's gone for Neymar. Both of you saying player of the tournament, Messi. Nubaid, we may as well come to you first. Darwin, top scorer.
You know, the thing is, to win top scorer in the World Cup, you only need a handful of goals.
6 or 7.
Yeah, and I think looking at his group, those games will be open when they play Portugal, Ghana and Korea, I think it is. Yeah. And he's the sort of striker that in a game, Uruguay draw 2-2, he'll score 2. I think he ends the group stages on 4 or 5 goals, and then he only needs 1. And I've got him going to the final, so he might get 2, and then he wins the Golden Boot. I think he's just one of these players that creates chances, and Fede Valverde loves a cross to the back post, and Darwin Núñez just lives in that area. So if Uruguay go far, Darwin Núñez is going to take him there.
You've gone for the more obvious candidate?
Boring.
Yeah. Well, I think with Neymar, you know, like you say, I think he'll pick up a couple of goals in the group stage.
Yeah,
although, to be honest with you, it's a similar sort of thing with Messi. I think Messi will pick up a couple of goals in the group stage. But I do wonder with those two, like, how far up the pitch they're going to play. And I've got a feeling that both of them are going to play quite high up the pitch, especially in the group stages. In which case, yeah, I think Neymar will do it. Apparently, Alan Shearer said Richarlison to get Golden Boot.
It's not impossible though. He does start as the 9, doesn't he?
Richarlison does start a lot. And
Yeah.
actually, in terms of goals per game for Brazil, his record recently is one of their top scorers in the last few years. They do like Richarlison.
And I have to say, I was watching a couple of recent Brazil games, and Neymar was playing like centre mid, which was unbelievable. And then you've both got Messi. Obvious.
Yeah, I think like he's become a monster creator this season. He sits a little bit deeper. I think Lautaro Martinez could be a shout actually for top scorer if Argentina go all the way. Also, honestly, I think even if he doesn't finish top scorer, even if he doesn't get the most assists, and especially if he doesn't win the World Cup, he's definitely getting like player of the tournament. So
why?
I just think it's one of those things, like with everything that's gone on with Qatar, and everything that's gone on. Yeah, the narrative is just there. So I think it's written that he would get it.
Do you think there's more pressure on him though this tournament because, you know, classically back in Argentina, Maradona brought home the World Cup. I feel like there's a lot of pressure on Lionel Messi at this tournament, with Argentina coming in quite as amongst the favourites to win it. Within Argentina, to say you are one of the favourites, now's your time to bring it home. Yeah,
but what comes with that is they've got a better team now, and I think they've got a team that can facilitate him a lot more. McAllister coming into that team as well, he's a massive workhorse, and Paredes and DePaul for Argentina, just like 20 different players. So I think he's got players around him, and the attacking options as well that Argentina have got that will make it easier for him on the pitch. But in terms of pressure, like we're talking about Lionel Messi, you know, and the things he's achieved, I don't think pressure really gets to him in the same way it gets to an average player.
Thrives in it, I think, doesn't he? Loves the big game. But right, enjoyed that. And what I liked about that is a lot of disagreement. But good debates backed up very well, but a lot of disagreements